Hey, Pretty Girl Club. It is exotical cuffing season, baby. And today I want to talk about have you ever noticed how everyone wants to either date us or create us? Think about it. The black men who are passport bros, they either want to date a mixed race or lighter skinned woman, or they want to divest and date outside of their race and they want to create one of us. Let's take a look at black women. Black women either want to date a mixed race or light skinned man. A lot of these women have crushes like Chris Brown or Michael Ealy or Boris Kojo. Or if they don't want to date a guy who looks like that, they want to create people who look like us because they divest and they get someone outside of their race and they create mixed race babies and they look like me and you. So, if that's not a sign that we are not only the blueprint, but we are also a beauty standard, even if we are quote unquote mediocre, if that's not a sign that we are the shit, I don't know what is. Think about how a lot of these women go online and they complain about not being chosen by non black men on Tinder or on other dating apps. These women are mad because they want to birth and create exoticals. They want to birth and create mixed race people with these non black men. Think about these black men who are mad at women like Ebony K. Williams. It's because they want to date someone who looks like Ebony K. Williams. They want to date a quote unquote light skinned black woman, or they want to date a mixed race woman. And if they don't, they want to birth one. Has anyone noticed how when it comes to some monoracial people, I've noticed that when some people birth mixed race children, those people who hated themselves or they birth those mixed race children out of self-hate, I've noticed some of those people, they cannot love their own features unless they see their own features on their mixed babies. So, for example, I've seen a lot of these videos and documentaries about, for example, black women and men who have had children who are mixed, and then they'll be like, oh, I used to hate my own features. I used to hate my hair texture. I used to hate my nose. I used to hate my lips. But then once I saw my baby had my features, and then their baby is mixed race, they'll be like, once I saw that my baby had those features, I began to like those things. And by the way, this is not just geared towards black people. I've seen white women like Kylie Jenner. She talked about her daughter Stormy, and she was like talking about how she used to hate her own ears. But then when she had her mixed baby, Stormy, and saw that Stormy had the same ears as her, then suddenly she was like, oh wow, these are actually really cute. Like there's actually nothing wrong with them. So like I said, everyone wants to date us or create us. Usually when you hear people talk about their celebrity crushes, most of the time, whoever their crushes are, they are a person who is of mixed race ancestry, or they are a person who has the stereotypical mixed race phenotype. And by the way, I'm not just talking about black men and women's celebrity crushes. Even if you look at some of these white men and you ask them, who are your favorite black singers and black actresses that you like? Look at what they say. They will often name somebody who has anywhere from maybe a tan to light brown skin tone, or maybe the person is a darker skinned mixed race person, maybe the person is biracial or whatever the case may be. So it's like, it's funny how some people like to say that we are mediocre and no one wants us and we only attract dusties. Meanwhile, when people get rich, the first thing they do is they go and swirl and birth mixed race children. Because we all know that people pedestalize mixed babies and they view mixed babies as a sign of success. So you can't go out and divest or be a passport bro or be an NBA player and you marry a Latina woman and then you have a black and Latina baby and then you want to call me a Blaxican mediocre. No, obviously I'm not mediocre because a lot of these people, they're going out and they're creating us. So, no, you could be the most regular looking mixed race person and you are still obviously the shit because, like I said, people want to either date you or create you. So, no, you're actually not ugly. You are not mediocre. And if anyone says that you're ugly or mediocre, they would be admitting that either they themselves are mediocre, that whoever they're dating or whoever their crushes are mediocre, or they would be admitting that their own children that they are going to create are mediocre. Think about all of the countries that have lots of multi-generationally mixed people. Think about places like Brazil. Think about places like the Dominican Republic. You're telling me that all of these people are all ugly and mediocre? No, they're not. These people are known for being very attractive and very beautiful. So I am no longer going to allow people to convince me that I'm somehow basic or like nobody wants us or we only attract the bottom of the barrel or we only attract people who hate themselves. And it's like if swirling and getting in an interracial relationship means you hate yourself, well then the majority of people must hate themselves then. Because it's funny how people use the self-hate argument when it comes to you being a mixed race person. They'll say, oh, well, you were created out of self-hate. But then they won't address the fact that they themselves are a passport bro or they themselves are a divester. They won't address the fact that their celebrity crushes are usually mixed race people or they are people who kind of fit the quote unquote mixed race aesthetic, whatever that may mean to them. A lot of people will say, oh, well, I don't even like light skins. I don't even like people who have a tan or light brown skin tone. And then you'll say, okay, who is your crush? And then they'll name a dark skin mixed person. So it's like, well, you still didn't even, you still proved my point because you either want a lighter skin mixed person or you want a darker skin mixed person or you want a person who looks mixed. You want someone who looks like the Glam Twins. You want someone who looks like Tyra Banks. You want someone who looks like Beyonce or Aaliyah or Halle Berry or Alicia Keys. That is who you want. So just admit that you want to either date us or create us. So, mixed men and women, how does it feel to be the official beauty standard? How does it feel to be the unspoken beauty standard? And it's funny because when I call us a beauty standard, people are going to think that I'm trying to be racist or colorist against others. I'm not saying that other people can't be a beauty standard. I think there are pretty people who are white, black, Asian, or everything in between. But just like there are pretty people who are of all of those ethnicities, guess what? There are also people who look good who are mixed race. So you can't convince me that MLS people are somehow ugly or that we are somehow mediocre or everything that we have is due to colorism, texturism, and featureism. No, that's false. Has anyone noticed that there's this narrative that you can't possibly be pretty and also be talented at the same time? You can't possibly be attractive and also be smart at the same time. That is just too triggering. And so I'm going to have to negate everything you have and I'm going to have to boil it all down to you only got that because of your hair texture. So you're telling me that Chili from TLC, she only got to where she is because of her hair texture? Her hair texture has nothing to do with her talent. Her hair texture is not doing the dance moves for her. Her hair texture is not thinking for her. Her hair texture did not give her a 20-year career. Her hair texture is not making decisions for her. So I just think that when people use these arguments, oftentimes they are trying to use something against you to try to make you feel bad or to try to humble you and make you feel invalidated. Meanwhile, the same people who say that would crush on a man who looks like Chili. They would crush on a black and Indian male. I've seen so many of those Facebook pages and Instagram pages where they talk about bae or whatever, or they have pictures of guys that they think are attractive. Do you know how many black and Indian dark-skinned mixed men are on there? Lots. So you can't put pictures of dark-skinned mixed race men as your crush and then you want to come against dark-skinned mixed women and say, oh, well, basically you're not special because you look black. Well, no, you can look black and still be attractive. You can look black and still be special. You can look black and still have people wanting to date you or people who give you quote unquote privileges. People don't understand that privilege is bestowed upon you by others. Privilege really just means you're being treated special by others. So every time you post a black and Indian man as your crush, you are actually giving black and Indian people a privilege because you're giving them special attention that is related to how they look. This is what people don't understand. And this is why I say we need to get back to actually using the dictionary. We need to get back to actually reading. Reading is fundamental. Because privilege just means you choose to treat someone special. So you actually have the power over who you choose to give that privilege. If you work at a coffee shop and you chose to give a free coffee to a little child, that child just experienced privilege from being a cute kid, and you bestowed that privilege on that child. So every time people post pictures of little Blindian or Blasian men or Blasian women, every time a person says that their crush is someone who looks like me, you are actually bestowing privilege upon that person and that phenotype. So you are giving that person a form of social power, and you're giving anyone who looks like that person a form of social power, whether you realize it or not. And this is why I tell MLS people it's important for us to support people who look like us. And yes, I know that some of us, we may not agree with certain lifestyles of other people, but for me, that's not important. What I care about is I care about social power. I care about us moving up in society. I care about us leveling up. I care about us using things like sociology and psychology to our advantage. I care about us maintaining a sense of identity, maintaining a sense of community. That's what I care about. Most people want to date us or create us. Prove me wrong. Any person who says, oh no, I don't even like mixed people, I don't even like light skinned people, most of the time that person has an ex or a baby mama or a baby daddy, ex boyfriend or whatever, who is a mixed race or quote unquote light skinned person. And don't even get me started on people who are dressing like or attempting to look like our phenotype while simultaneously calling us mediocre. It's like, no, you are promoting the hair texture, or you're promoting kind of this type 3 wet and wavy look. That is a hair texture that is commonly found amongst mixed race people. So you are actually, like I said, you are subconsciously bestowing privilege upon people who have that hair texture naturally, or whatever ethnic group naturally has that hair texture. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with this. There is nothing wrong with supporting other cultures. But what I have a problem with is when people want to support every other culture, you want to support every other race except for mixed race people. And then you want to suddenly pretend like mixed race people don't matter, or like you've never been influenced by a mixed race person, or like you've never found a mixed race person to be attractive. That is false. And I can prove it over and over again. Most people want to date us or create us. And this is why I think it's important for us to band together and for us to create support groups for ourselves, because this has actually caused us to level up in society on a subconscious level. And I want us to continue to use that momentum as time goes on, especially since our community is growing. I think it's important that we get our voices heard. I think it's important that other people stop speaking for us and stop telling our stories for us, because I'm tired of other communities trying to control us. I'm tired of other communities making us the mules for their communities and then turning around and rejecting us as soon as we start calling out their flaws or the issues that we've had in their community. You've seen that happen with the Light Girls documentary. We've seen it happen with all kinds of different scenarios. And so I think it's important for us to congregate amongst ourselves and begin to talk about these things, because we deserve a voice too. All of the beauty standards we've been setting, all of the trends that we've been setting, all of the people who want to quote unquote date us or create us, yeah, it's about time that we do come together, because we are a growing community. And so let's talk about these things. By the way, I do have a Patreon where we talk about level up strategies. We talk about using dark femininity to our advantage and social climbing and things like that. So if you're interested, I'll have that linked in the description. But what do you guys think? Most people want to date us or create us. Do you agree? Let me know in the comment section, and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.